The story begins with a boy named Gil. He left his family in the village and came to the city, hoping to get a good job. But after losing his previous job, even after attending many interviews, he didn't get any. However, he has a special talent, and using that talent, he manages to pay his rent and monthly expenses. His special talent is that he's very good at playing claw machine games, and he always wins easily. The rule of the claw machine game is simple. With $1, he gets 3 chances to play. Using the crane-like controller, he tries to grab as many prizes as he can within those 3 tries. Whatever prizes he wins, he sells them, and that's how he earns his living. One morning, his friend Weebium tells him that a new tenant has moved into the floor below. They're opening a bakery shop there. Gil opens his fridge and sees that the milk is finished, so he goes out to buy some. On the way to the shop, he notices a broken glass bottle on the road. Gil thinks that if someone steps on it, they might cut their foot, so he picks it up and throws it into the dustbin. Then he notices that a new bakery is being set up just a little ahead, right near his building. That's the shop of his new neighbors. That night, when Gil comes home, he starts shaking the dust off his dirty blanket. Something small falls out from it. Gil goes downstairs and starts searching for it in the bushes near the building. It turns out to be his neck pillow. As he picks it up and starts walking back, he notices a girl sitting on a bench in the garden, drinking a cold soda. The moment Gil sees her, time seems to stop. Her beauty leaves him completely mesmerized. The next day, he tells his friend that the girl looked like an angel. He says, "I couldn't stop staring at her. Her face is still in my eyes." After that, he goes out to play the claw machine game again. After winning, he gives all the gifts to his friend. When Gil comes back home and gets into the elevator, he suddenly sees the same girl he saw last night standing in front of the elevator doors, acting strange. All of a sudden, the girl attacks him. Gil tries to protect himself using the toy doll he's holding. But after getting hit by the doll, the girl becomes even angrier, grabs Gil by the neck, and starts hitting him. Having no other choice, Gil hits her head hard with his own and escapes from the elevator. The next morning, when Gil wakes up, he takes a stick in his hand and starts searching for the girl from last night. Not finding her anywhere, Gil comes downstairs. As he reaches the ground floor, he sees that a new bakery has opened in front of their building. When he peeks through the door to look inside, the bakery manager, Ara, walks up beside him. Seeing her, Gil gets nervous and says, "I actually came to buy some bread." While Gil buys bread, Ara asks him if he lives in this apartment. Gil says, "Yes, we live in the same building. I stay upstairs, and you all stay on the lower floor." Hearing this, Ara calls the bakery owner, Sua, and says, "This boy lives in our building." When Gil sees Sua, he instantly recognizes her. She's the same beautiful, fairy-like girl he saw sitting on the bench that night. And she's also the same girl who fought with him in the elevator last night. Embarrassed, Gil lowers his head and quietly leaves the bakery. But Sua comes out of the shop and calls his name. Hearing her voice, Gil gets scared and runs away. After a while, Sua catches up to him. Gil thinks she's going to scold him for what happened last night, but instead, she surprises him by saying, "You're our neighbor and our new customer. I wanted to give you this small gift." Back home, Gil keeps thinking, "I hit her so hard last night that she might have been hurt, but she didn't even mention it today. Maybe she has some kind of memory problem." That night, around 2 in the morning, Sua is sleeping in her room. She dreams of a dark place, pitch black all around, and in that darkness, a girl is sitting alone. Before she can see anything more, Sua suddenly wakes up. At the same time, Gil notices from his window that Sua is standing strangely in the garden. Gil, looking for a reason to talk to her, quickly opens his fridge and drinks all the milk, then grabs the empty milk carton and says to himself, "Guess I'll have to go out to buy milk at this hour." When he comes to the garden, Sua isn't there. She's actually standing by the roadside outside the apartment. Suddenly, a truck approaches, and Sua starts walking toward it. Right at that moment, a man rushes in and saves her. Sua struggles to break free and keeps trying to run back into the road. Hearing the shouting, Gil runs toward them. Thinking the man is harassing her, Gil tries to stop him, but the man yells, "Don't move! My name is Sangsu." Then he shows a photo and says, "You think I'm bothering her? She's my only daughter, Sua. Now you tell me, why were you following my daughter?" Gil says, "Last night your daughter acted very strangely inside the elevator. Even tonight, I saw her standing in the balcony, looking unusual." Hearing this, Sua looks at him and says, "So you're the one who hit my head last night?" Sangsu quickly grabs his daughter to stop her. He tells Gil, "Stay away from us, and don't tell anyone about this." When Sua tries to attack Gil again, he runs out of the shop in fear. A little while later, we see Sua sleeping peacefully in her bed. Sangsu asks Ara, "How did she go out alone like that?" Ara replies, "I tried to stop her, but but she locked me in the room and went out by herself. The next morning, when Gil gets into the elevator, Sua enters too. When Gil starts apologizing, Sua just looks at him in surprise because she doesn't remember anything from last night. She doesn't understand why Gil is saying sorry to her. That night, Sua goes out for a walk with her father. Gil secretly watches them from a distance. It's 2:22 a.m. on the clock. Gil sees Sua playing like a child with her father at the park. Then they stop by a supermarket where she eats her favorite cake. Sua doesn't even hold the water bottle by herself. She drinks only when her father holds it for her. Sang-soo tells her, "Because of you, I have to change houses every few days. I thought we'd rent this apartment for a while, but you made me buy it." Sua smiles and says, "The price of this place will double soon." Just as she says that, she suddenly starts acting strange and falls asleep. Sang-soo carries her on his back and walks home. But suddenly, he feels a sharp pain in his spine and collapses. Gil runs over and catches Sua before she falls. Sang-soo is taken to the hospital. Sua is still asleep, resting on Gil's back. Ara asks Gil, "What kind of job do you do?" Gil replies, "Right now, I don't have any job." The next morning, Gil goes to the hospital to check on Sang-soo. Sang-soo says, "Did you bring what I asked for?" Gil takes out his resume and hands it to him. Looking at it, Sang-soo says, "Your grades aren't that good, and you've been fired from a few jobs because of poor performance. Still, I can offer you one." He continues, "During the day, you'll work at the bakery. But from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m., you'll take my daughter out for a walk. But my daughter isn't an ordinary girl, there's a spirit inside her. Every night after she falls asleep, the spirit takes over her body. That spirit has been inside her since the day she was born. My wife's ancestors were cursed, and because of that curse, this spirit is trapped inside Sua. The spirit loves to wander under the moonlight. That's why every night, when everyone's asleep, I take her out for a walk. But she doesn't remember any of it the next morning. I've taken her to many shamans, but no one could help." Sang-soo looks at him seriously and says, "Now that I'm sick and stuck in the hospital, you'll have to take my place and walk with her at night." Hearing all this, Gil feels terrified and thinks, "I don't want this kind of job." But since he's unemployed and really needs work, and Sang-soo keeps requesting him again and again, Gil finally agrees. The night when Gil is about to take Sua out for the walk, Sua tells Gil, "You smashed my head in the elevator that night, tonight I will smash yours." Ara explains to Sua, "From now on this guy will take you out at night, because Sua's father is sick in the hospital." Outside, Sua tells Gil, "I'm not a normal ghost. I'm a very high-ranking spirit. I'm dangerous. I have 2 wings and 2 big horns. But ordinary people like you can't see these things." The next morning, Gil tells Sang-soo, "I can't do such a dangerous job. That spirit doesn't like me at all." Sang-soo begs him, saying he will recover in a few days. "Until then, you'll just work in my bakery during the day, and at night I'll take the girl out myself. So look after her until I get better." Today is Gil's first day working at the bakery. Ara tells Sua that her father has hired this boy. Ara pulls Gil aside and warns him, "Sua won't remember anything at night. The spirit takes over her body. Don't be afraid, the spirit won't kill you." That night, when Gil takes Sua out, the spirit plays an emotional game with him. The spirit makes a magical face and pretends to propose to Gil. Then Gil remembers what Sang-soo told him. The spirit will try to emotionally blackmail him. If he falls into that trap, the spirit will grow stronger and hold Sua's body for longer each night. Remembering this, Gil shouts, "I won't fall for your trap!" At that moment, Sua remembers her favorite food. She drags Gil to the supermarket and tells the salesman to always keep her favorite cakes in stock. She threatens him, "If I come at night and there's no cake, you'll be in trouble." Right then, another girl comes to buy the same flavored cake, but the spirit has already taken all of them. Not getting her favorite cake, the girl starts to cry. Seeing this, Sua mockingly shows off the cakes and teases her before eating. The girl gets upset and runs away. Gil says, "A real ghost can't be this silly." Hearing that, the spirit gets angry and tries to flip a table. When it can't, it starts throwing small things around. At one point, the spirit catches an insect and tries to put it into its mouth, but Gil grabs its hand and says, "I believed you were a real spirit, but don't hurt Sua anymore." The next morning at the bakery, Sua shows Gil how to do the work. Gil looks at her, wondering if the spirit thing is an act or real. Sua tells Gil, "You don't need to be afraid. Talk to me normally like you do with Ara." At exactly 2 o'clock at night, Gil leaves the house with a bag, a bottle of water, and some essentials. At the park, he gets on the swing and the spirit says, "Push me harder." Gil pushes so hard the spirit flies off and falls face first. The spirit gets furious and starts trying to hit Gil. Sang-soo, sitting in the hospital, watches his daughter's location on his phone tracker. During the day, Gil sneaks glances at Sua when he can. His actions show he's starting to like her. One night when he goes to the supermarket for food, the salesman says the cakes are sold out. The spirit acts emotional and says, "I won't live much longer. This cake is my favorite thing on earth." Hearing that, the salesman pulls out a hidden cake and gives it to the spirit. The spirit angrily scolds the salesman. "How dare you lie to me?" Meanwhile, the girl from the previous night comes for cake and sees Sua has eaten them all. The next morning, that girl comes by, eats several cakes at Sua's bakery, and leaves. At night, when the spirit goes out, it always looks for an earthen pot. During work, Sua also secretly watches Gil. Gradually, they become friends. One night, Gil asks the spirit who gave it that weird curly hair and strange look. The spirit says it can make those changes with its magic in 1 second. But the truth is different. Ara spends a long time doing Sua's makeup every night. And every morning after Gil brings Sua home, Ara removes the makeup so Sua won't notice anything when she wakes up. The next morning at the bakery, Ara says, "Once I tricked the spirit with fake magic and made it believe me. As a condition, I asked the spirit to go with me to one place, a shaman's house. Even though the shaman tried to bind and exorcise the spirit with many rituals, nothing worked. Only the spirit knows how to leave Sua's body." Hearing this gives Gil an idea. He quietly plans to trick the spirit in a bet, force it to reveal the truth, and win. According to the plan, that night Gil takes the spirit to a claw machine game. He tells her, "You'll choose one doll from inside the box. I'll pick it up within 3 tries, the spirit says, "and if you fail, I'll stay inside Sua's body for 6 hours instead of 3. Gil replies, "But if I win, you'll have to tell me what I can do to make you leave her body forever." The spirit agrees and points to a small white doll. Gil fails the first 2 tries, and the spirit starts laughing at him. But on the 3rd try, Gil manages to grab the doll. As per the bet, Gil says, "Now tell me, what should I do to free Sua?" The spirit says, "You have to say my name 3 times and tell me to leave Sua's body. Then I'll go." Gil asks, "What's your real name?" The spirit smirks and says, "I told you what the deal required. My name wasn't part of the bet." The next morning, Gil goes to deliver bread to a shop. There, he bumps into a guy named Chan. Right away, Sua comes and apologizes to him. Chan looks at Sua in surprise, as if remembering something, and tries to hold her hand. But Gil quickly holds Chan's hand first and says sorry. Later, when Gil and Sua sit together in a park, she says, "I feel like I don't sleep well at night. Sometimes I dream about a boy who's always trying to protect me." Hearing that, Gil secretly feels happy. Maybe Sua is starting to feel something for him too. That night, when Gil takes the spirit for a walk by the riverside, they see a man standing on a bridge, about to jump. He's drowning in debt and wants to end his life. The police try to talk him out of it, but he doesn't listen. Then he notices a girl standing below the bridge, saying something to him. It seems like the girl is telling him not to jump. The man gets emotional and starts crying. But when he listens closely, he realizes the girl is actually saying, "Stop acting and just jump already. It doesn't even hurt. Look, I'll show you." The spirit suddenly leaps into the water. Gil panics and jumps after her to save her, but he doesn't even know how to swim. The police rescue Gil, but they can't find Sua anywhere. Then they see the spirit swimming across the river. The next day, the news spreads on TV, and Sangsu and Ara scold Gil harshly. When Sangsu tries to hit him, Sua suddenly appears, so he stops. Sua takes her father back to the hospital. Ara tells Gil, "Sua dreams of studying abroad in France, but if that spirit isn't removed, it'll never be possible." That night, while Gil waits for the spirit to come out, Sua suddenly walks out of her room awake. Seeing Gil outside, she gets startled and asks, "What are you doing here so late?" Gil looks at her in surprise, realizing that tonight, the spirit hasn't appeared. As they walk, Sua says, "I couldn't sleep at all. Today is my mother's death anniversary. She left me when I was just 8. Sua and Gil go to watch a movie together. It's a romantic one. Sua places her hand over Gil's, and Gil gently places his hand on top of hers. But when he looks at her, she starts smiling strangely. That means the spirit has taken over again. The spirit says, "With that ugly face, how dare you touch my hand?" Then she storms out of the theater. Gil follows her and says, "Because of you, Sua's family can't send her abroad for higher studies. Tell me your real name, I'll use it to free you." The spirit replies, "You have to make me truly happy first. If you do, I'll tell you my real name. I've always wanted to play in a bouncy house. Take me there. If you do what I say, I'll start spending less time inside her body and one day, I'll leave for good." Just then, she notices a beach photo on the screen and says, "Take me there first." Gil says, "We'll have to go during the day, but you only appear at night." The spirit says, "Then take Sua there. I can see everything from inside her." The next day, Gil takes Sua to the seaside. Sua says Ara caught a bad cold, so she couldn't come along. Gil notices tears rolling down Sua's cheeks. When he asks why, she says, "I don't even know why I'm crying." Gil realizes it's the spirit's tears, tears of happiness for being at her favorite place. That night, the spirit waters a tree and finds a clay pot buried in the ground. Gil says, "I took Sua to the beach like you wanted. You enjoyed a lot, so now please free her and let me go." Hearing this, the spirit gets angry and breaks the pot. She says, "I told you, you must make me happy from your heart. But if you keep trying to irritate me, I'll do something terrible to the girl." Then, she starts pulling grass from the ground and eating it. When Gil tries to stop her, she runs toward the road. A car passes by and Gil fails to grab her in time. A little further ahead, the spirit suddenly stops, unable to move forward. She sees a rope tied with holy mantras hanging in front of her. Gil rushes over, wipes the dirt off her face, and says, "You'll get sick if you keep eating things like that. I promise. From now on, I'll make your wishes come true," with a smile. The next day, Gil takes the spirit to play in a bouncy house. The spirit jumps around happily, laughing like a child. In that moment, some old memories from her past start coming back to her mind. Then they visit a flower park. Gil says, "You must really like flowers." The spirit replies, "I'm a terrifying ghost. I don't like silly things like that." But ironically, her dress is covered with beautiful flower designs. When Gil sees her playing with the flowers, he says, "Let me take your picture. Give me a little smile." The spirit says, "I'm a scary ghost. I can't smile." Gil says, "I've heard that hybrid ghosts can smile, and they can pose beautifully for pictures too." Hearing her own praise, the spirit starts posing beautifully. Gil shows her the photos and says, "Look how nice these turned out." The spirit says, "But that's not me. I have 2 horns and wings." Saying this, she draws a strange picture of herself. Even though the drawing looks odd, Gil says, "I can tell from your drawing that you were very beautiful and famous." He asks, "What did your friends call you?" The spirit says, "They used to call me Meow." Gil immediately calls out, "Meow! Leave Sua's body right now!" The spirit laughs and says, "I knew you'd try something like that. That's why I tricked you and gave you a fake name." The next morning at the bakery, Gil happily tells everyone some good news. He says, "Last night, as per the deal, I took the spirit to play at the bouncy house. From now on, she'll stay inside Sua's body 30 minutes less. Before, she used to stay for 3 hours, now it'll be 2.5. Hearing that, Ara says, "Then today, make her happy again so she'll reduce another 30 minutes. According to the plan, that night they take the spirit to a bar party. Gil notices a man holding the spirit's hand tightly. It's the same man Sua had bumped into while delivering bread. His name is Chan. Chan looks at Gil and asks, "Who is this girl to you?" Gil replies, "Why are you so interested? She's my girlfriend." Hearing that, Chan looks strangely at Sua and walks away without saying a word. The next day, when Gil goes to the bakery, he sees Ara teasing her friend. Watching that, Sua asks Gil, "Since when did those two become friends?" Because, of course, she doesn't remember last night's party. Just then, Chan comes into the bakery. He looks at Sua strangely, buys a candy, and leaves. Immediately, Gil goes outside and asks for his identity. Chan says, "I know there's something else inside that girl. I hung a sacred rope to test her, and I've been following her from a distance for a long time. But every time I tried to catch her, you showed up and protected her. I'm the only one who can free her." Gil says, "You're mistaken. There's nothing like that inside her." At night, the spirit tells Gil, "Chan is a sorcerer. His ancestors tried to exorcise me too, but they all failed. None of them could remove me." The next morning, when Sua is leaving for class, Gil says, "Call me when you come back. I'll come pick you up." Hearing that, Sua smiles happily. In the evening, while waiting for the bus, a girl asks Sua to tie her shoelaces. When Sua ties them, the girl gives her a candy to eat. Sua gets on the bus, eats the candy, and immediately falls asleep. At that moment, Chan appears and stands beside her. Meanwhile, Sangsu and Gil are chatting in the bakery. Gil suddenly remembers Sua said she would call him while coming home, but even though it's already late, she hasn't called yet. Sangsu opens the tracking app and sees Sua going the wrong way. Seeing this, Gil quickly grabs Sangsu's phone and rushes to find her. By then, Chan has already taken Sua to his hideout. He ties her to a chair, turns on the camera, and starts performing a ritual to drive out the spirit. At that moment, the spirit enters Sua's body. Chan says, "Today I'll banish you and bring glory to my family name." Just then, Gil arrives and knocks Chan unconscious. While taking Sua back home, the spirit starts telling her story. She says, "About 170 years ago, that was the year 1855, there was a deadly disease in our village, and food became very scarce. One day, I found a fish and hurried home to feed my sick father and sister. But by the time I got there, both of them had died. At just 20 years old, I became an orphan," she continues. To free the village from the plague, the villagers called a shaman. He said one life must be sacrificed, but no one was willing to give up their life. Since I had no family, everyone decided to sacrifice me instead. They burned me alive. Later, a wealthy family from the village carefully collected my ashes, put them in a clay pot, and buried it underground. My spirit lived inside that dark pot. Over time, my pain began to fade. After 100 years, I thought I could finally rest peacefully. But after 50 years, Sua's grandmother found that clay pot. She dumped out the ashes, cleaned the pot, and buried it again to store kimchi. That pot was my only home. With nowhere else to go, I entered her body out of desperation. Out of anger, I started haunting everyone. Then, before she gave birth, I moved into the baby's body, and that baby was Sua. The shamans and sorcerers who saw her instantly knew there was a helpless spirit inside. If they had caught me, they would have tortured me. So, to protect myself, I always pretended to be a scary ghost. If I can't return to that clay pot before the next full moon, I'll be forced to wander forever in the darkness with my painful memories. That's why I've been searching for that pot all this time. If I can spend the remaining 50 years inside it, I'll forget all my pain and disappear peacefully forever. Back home, the spirit waits for the night of the full moon. Only 2 more days left for her to stay inside Sua's body. Sitting alone, she keeps thinking that she'll have to wander forever with her painful memories. But Gil takes the address of Sua's grandmother's house from Sangsu. The next morning, he sets out for her grandmother's old home. After a long journey, Gil finds the abandoned house deep inside the forest. He spends the whole day digging around, searching for the clay pot. But even after digging for hours, he doesn't find it. Still, he doesn't give up and keeps digging through the night. Meanwhile, the spirit sits quietly on the swing, not wanting to play anymore. She looks up sadly at the moonlight. The next morning, Gil notices a bird sitting on a big stone, signaling at him as if showing something. He quickly moves the stone and starts digging there. After digging for a while, he finally finds the clay pot. Excited, he runs as fast as he can toward home because tonight is the full moon. He must return before 2 a.m., no matter what. That night, for the last time, the spirit dresses up beautifully, strokes Ara's head gently, and steps out. She goes to the supermarket, puts back her favorite cake, and takes another one instead. The girl who used to come every night looking for her favorite cake finally finds it and becomes very happy. As the spirit leaves, she thanks the shop boy. Sangsu says, "All these years I've been chasing after you, and I didn't even notice how old I've become." The spirit thinks about how she always saw Sangsu as a father figure, and now she has to leave everything behind. The spirit says softly, "Very soon this place's value will rise a lot. You made the right decision buying it. If you sell this house, you'll be able to send Sua to France for her studies. And with the rest of the money, you can finally travel the world just like you always dreamed." Then she says, "It's time for me to go now. I really wanted to see Gil once before I leave." Just then, Gil comes running. He holds the spirit's hand and takes her to her favorite flower garden. When he takes out the clay pot from his bag, the spirit's eyes fill with tears. She says, "Why did you go through so much trouble for me?" Gil says, "Because I want you to be happy. Every night when I was sleepy during our walks, you used to pretend to fall asleep first so we could go home early. I always saw you watering the trees. No scary ghost could do such things. You were a good person. It was people's greed that gave you this fate. For 100 years, you've carried the pain of the past." Hearing this, the spirit breaks down in tears. She never imagined she'd find someone who could truly understand her pain. Crying, she finally says her real name. The spirit says, "My name is Moon Young," Gil says. "Then get ready to go where you truly belong." Moon Young runs to him crying and hugs him tightly. With a soft and grateful voice, she thanks Gil. Then Gil says her name and asks her to enter the clay pot. Later, we see Sua leaving for France to pursue her higher studies. Everyone comes to the airport to see her off. Ara now owns her own small bakery shop. Mr. Sangsu has sold everything and set out to travel the world. And Gil, using his special skill, has gotten a job at the seaport, operating cargo containers. Several years later, Sua returns to her country. She thinks to herself, "The first day I met Gil, he picked up a broken glass bottle from the road and threw it in the trash. Then I met him again at our bakery shop when I gave him an expensive gift just to have a reason to talk to him. On the day we went to the seaside, Ara wasn't really sick. I simply didn't take her because I wanted to spend time alone with Gil. In the theater, I tried to hold his hand. At the airport, when everyone said goodbye and left, I secretly stayed behind to see him one last time. Sua takes out her phone, finds Gil's number, and calls him. Meanwhile, we see that Gil has carefully kept Moon Young's clay pot safe with him. With this beautiful moment, today's drama comes to an end. Don't forget to let me know how you liked the drama, and if you enjoy my stories, make sure to like and comment to stay with me. Now I'm leaving, but I'll see you soon with a new drama story. Until then, take care of yourselves.